all have to deal with setbacks at one time or another. We may be doing something and things just don't go our way. We're hurt. We're wounded. We don't know what to do. We're crying out to God. God, why? Why, God? Why did this happen? I came so far. Well, let me tell you, God knows all. God is looking out for you. God is working everything for your good. So don't get upset when you face a setback. No, it is a setup for something fantastic. And that's what we're going to talk about today on Two Cute Life Lessons. Hi, I'm LaWanda Shields, and we're going to get right into this video of talking about how setbacks actually work for our good. When we stop and look at one of our main biblical characters, and that is Joseph, we know he faced a lot of setbacks. He dreamed about being in charge. He dreamed about the wheat. He dreamed about all these things. His brothers and them bowing down to him. Unfortunately, he told the secret, but we'll talk about that later. You can't tell everybody your secrets. Shh. You can't tell everybody your secrets. Joseph told his secrets. Joseph told what his dream was. He told what was supposed to happen. He exposed himself, and as a result, his brothers throw him into a pit. First, they want to kill him, but they get talked out of it by the other brother, Reuben, and he gets sold, and he ends up in Egypt of all places. And he was probably thinking what most of us would have been thinking was, Lord, you promised me greatness, and instead you give me slavery. You have me tied to people. I'm in a financial crunch. Or that's what we say, or I'm in a situation that looks nothing like the situation in which you promised me. You promised me that I would be the head and not the tail. You said I'd be above and not beneath. You said I'd be a lender and not a borrower. You said things are going to work out for my good. And what I'm looking at is darkness. What I'm looking at is despair. Nothing is going the way in which I feel like it should go, or I thought it would go. Well, let me tell you this. God is not a man that he should lie. All things are working for your good. And Joseph, even though he ended up in Egypt, it was all a part of God's plan. God planned for him to be in Egypt. How do I know? Because his position in Egypt leads him to the palace. His position at the palace in Egypt leads him to be able to save not just his family, but the entire race of Israelites. So we look at it. When Joseph first goes to Egypt, when he first arrived, he probably within himself could not see how this was working out for his good. He couldn't see how those visions of greatness added up to being a servant, being a slave in Egypt. Well, he didn't see it. He waited patiently, and I can imagine in all that time, his patience was getting tried. It was getting a little thin, because remember, he was an Israelite, and he knew God. He had been raised knowing God. He had been raised knowing the things that God could do. Well, God was about to introduce himself to Joseph on his own level. He gives him the ability to interpret dreams. And so while he's in prison, after he's thrown there, because he's accused of trying to molest this lady, Potiphar's wife, which is another whole story. But, he's wondering, what did I do to deserve this? I was good. I didn't touch this woman. I ran away. I tried to do what was right, and look where it got me. I ended up in jail. However, God positioned him in jail so he could meet those two servants of Pharaoh, so he could eventually get led to the palace. So the next time you're facing a setback, stop and think about Joseph. Think about all of the things he had to go through before he got to be in a top position in Egypt. And it wasn't just about his immediate family, like wife and kids. It wasn't just about that. It wasn't just about self-fulfillment. It was about saving the whole race of Israelites. He had more than just himself to think about. He saved the entire nation because he had a setback. His setback was a setup for him to do something great, and so is yours. So remember that today. Don't get so frustrated or worn out because you're facing a setback. Don't just throw up your hands and say, Lord, I'm throwing in the towel. You disappointed me. Look at what's going on. It's a setup for a fantastic comeback, for something spectacular to happen to you. Keep that in your mind. Keep that in your heart. Know that God knows all. He sees all. He's using this to get you to where he needs you to be. And I will see you guys in the next video. This has been LaWanda Shoes Took You Life Lessons.